Hi, this is the second video to section 3.3 OpenStax statistics. Let's take a look at example 10. We have Helen, for her free throws in basketball, she makes the shot 75% of the time. Now she must attempt 2 free throws. Helen can make the first shot 75% of the time. We'll call that event C. And she makes the second shot 75% of the time. We'll call that letter D, her second attempt at the shot. Helen makes her shots in streaks. So the probability that she makes the second free throw, given that she made the first, is 0.85. Please remember how we would write that, like so. Let's go ahead and read part A. What is the probability that Helen makes both free throws? In other words, we're asked what's the probability of both C and D occurring. Since we see the word "and" in there, we know that this needs to be the multiplication property. So the next question we ask ourselves, are these events independent? Well, it says here that she makes the shots in streaks, so they are not independent. If she makes the first shot, that's going to increase her chances that she makes the second shot. Now, with the information we are given, we are going to use these formulas here. Keep in mind that these two are the same. I just switched the order of the letters, and that's what this will allow me to do. So we have our answer, and Helen makes the first and second free throws with a probability of 0.6375 or 63.75% of the time. Moving on to letter B. What is the probability that Helen makes the first free throw or the second free throw? Notice the word "or" here. Would that be the addition property or the multiplication property that we need to use? Well, the "or" term means we need the addition property. So in the addition property, we must ask, are these events mutually exclusive? And since we know that she can make the first shot and the second shot, we show that here, that they can happen, then we know that these events are not mutually exclusive. So here is the formula we're going to need to use. And we are given the probabilities of each. And we found the probability of C and D occurring in letter A. And so we ended up with a probability of 0.8625. And we already answered letter C and D, but let's go ahead and write them down. We know C and D, they are not independent. And a mathematical way we can show this is that the probability of the second, given the first has already occurred, is not 0. And are C and D mutually exclusive? No. And one other way we can show this is because the probability of C and D do not equal 0. Example 11 says we have an experiment where we first roll a die and then toss a coin. Let's see if we remember how to list the sample space. Go ahead, pause the video, and see if you can do this. And here we have it. How did you do? Let's go on to letter B. We're going to let A be the event that either a 3 or a 4 is rolled, followed by landing ahead on the coin toss. So let's find the probability of A occurring. Now, keep in mind that we need either a 3 or 4 first, followed by ahead. Now, don't be confused when you see the word or here. We need both of these to occur, this and this, which means we still need to use the multiplication property. So how many ways can we get a 3 or a 4 rolled first? That's 2 out of 6. And the probability of rolling ahead is 1/2. And we have a probability of 2/12 here. You can say 1/6 as well, but in probability, we don't always have to reduce the fraction. For letter C, we're told that event B means that when we toss the coin the first and second time, it lands on a head. And we want to know if event B is mutually exclusive from event A, where a 3 or 4 is rolled and then it's followed by a head. And in this case, the answer is no. These are not mutually exclusive because these events can occur at the same time. And mathematically, we can show that the probability of A and B is not equal to 0, which means it is not mutually exclusive. That's the end of our second video to section 3.3. I hope you found it helpful.